Alright everybody, how is it going? Hope you guys are doing good, and today we're going to be breaking down the 2025-26 Ohio State Buckeyes schedule and the college football playoff. I'm just going to maybe give an overview of like how I see maybe the top 12 going into it, but for right now I think we should just dive right into the Buckeyes. Let's do it. So, game 1 at the Shoe. Big noon kickoff against the Texas Longhorns. I don't really know how I feel about this because here's the thing. You can't forget the fact we met in the Cotton Bowl. Okay, and we had a really good job. We did a really good job there and got the W, and I'm really happy about that. But the thing is, we have both teams have lost a lot of good talent. Like Texas Longhorns, they've lost Matthew Golden. Of course, they lost their main quarterback Quinn Ewers, so that definitely doesn't help them there. But on the Buckeyes, they also lost a lot more than you would think. We lost both of our defensive ends, Jack Sawyer and J.T. Turmola. Plus, you can't forget some of our defensive people that we also lost as well. Of course, people like Travion Henderson, Quinton Jenkins, those two very good running backs, gone into the NFL now. That's not going to help us. Will Howard, pretty good quarterback overall. He's in the NFL as well. So really, when we're relying on people like Julian Sain and we're really just gonna be relying on Julian Sain and my boy Smith right here. So it's gonna be a fun game, but you can't forget this is played at the Shoe. The last time we played, it was in Texas. It wasn't at their university at AT&T Stadium. It was in Texas, and guess what happened? We came out on top. But that's the thing, was we just had the talent back then. This is, I think, today. Late August, August 30th when they play. It's going to be a rough game, but I think I got the Buckeyes. I think the people at Ohio State are going to be loud. It's going to be hard to play for Texas. Give me the Ohio State Buckeyes going 1-0 to start the year. Let's go. All right, next week, this is a cupcake game on Big Ten Network. 3:30 p.m. kickoff. We have Ohio State versus Grambling, and blowout. 60-0, 70-0, whatever. We beat Grambling easily. Grambling State, we don't even need to worry about that. Then, 7 p.m. September 13th next week. That is a nighttime game, apparently. That's going to be on Peacock, which kind of sucks. But that does mean that we're going to get a Big Ten Saturday night. Even though it's not even going to be a big game, we're going to cream the Ohio Bobcats. Give me the Buckeyes. We're going 3-0. I like our chances here. Do we get a bye after that? Looks like we might have a bye. Because let's see, September 13th. Yeah, the next game is September 27th. Don't know the time of that day, but it is going to be played at Washington. Those first 3 games we played are at home. Next game is going to be at Washington. I don't really know much about their team, but all I know is that, they don't have the best team. I might, my opinion on that could change as we get closer to it. But as of right now, I see the Buckeyes also winning that. I know I'm seeming homer right now, but the truth is we're just Ohio State. We're that good, and I don't want to brag, but we are. So I feel like I have to pick. And that's our first away game as well. It's we might have some jet lag because it's gonna be like a 4-hour difference. So we might be tired there, but then again, I still think we're gonna win. I still think we're gonna pull that one out, and I hope you guys agree with me on this. Next up, October 4th, time to be determined. This is at home against Minnesota. Now, my thought on that is, I don't know much of their team either, but still, I do truly believe that the Buckeyes are going to be able to get the win at Ohio Stadium. It's at home. They're not going to do, Minnesota has never really been much of a football school anyway. Really the only big couple teams of the Big Ten right now: Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, Penn State. Those are the big 4 in the Big Ten right now. Those are the guys that is really competitive. That's where it can really mean something. For the Ohio State Buckeyes against Minnesota, I think they're gonna cream them. I do think they're gonna cream them at home. So that's my thought on that. October 11th. In Illinois, fighting Illinois. I feel like it's like the same thing as Minnesota. They're good. It might be a pretty good, hard-fought battle, but I feel like Ohio State, we just have the tools. We have a good program. don't forget though, we still have Brandon Ennis. We do have another backup. We do have another backup wide receiver. That way, Smith doesn't have to do all the work on the offensive side of the ball. We're not gonna have the best defense ever because a lot of our seniors graduated on defense. So we're gonna be losing a lot of good defensive men. But don't forget, we do still have a lot of. I think we do have a few juniors coming back for the senior year at Ohio State, maybe looking to run it back. But I think I got the Buckeyes winning this one as well. And then another away game at Madison, Wisconsin. Now the thing about that one is, depending on what time of day, last year it was a night game, and it was actually pretty good until the end there. But I can see this. If this is a night game, remember, most of these times are to be determined. But if this, I generally think, like, we do have a pretty easy schedule, I must say, but we'll get into some of the little bit harder games later. But for now, against Wisconsin in Madison, depending on what time of day that is, if it's like a noon kickoff, I think we got him. 3:30 might be a little bit later, maybe a little bit different. But 7 p.m., man, if it's 7 p.m., it's going to be a little bit hard because I know, Wisconsin, they've got a good stadium, they got a good atmosphere. So they're gonna give their team everything they've got for loudness, for the atmosphere, because they know that Ohio State, they know that they need to get the win here. And then coming home against Penn State, Drew Aller coming back. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, because maybe they're gonna help, maybe that could actually help them, but I feel like Ohio State does kind of own Penn State. This is the one that I'm going to give a little bit more analytics on, because Penn State, Drew Aller coming back. But don't forget though, I don't know for sure if Nicholas Singleton left or not. I'll put that somewhere down below if he did leave or not. But I know for a fact Abdul Carter, he's gone. But Tyler Warren, that he also lost him too. So they did lose some of their big offensive guys there. But don't forget though, they did make a good run last year. Made it to the top 4 in the finals. Almost beat Notre Dame. It's a close one. I was rooting for Penn State because I wanted a Penn State Ohio State national championship. I thought that would have been so fun. Big 10 teams battling out. But the rivalry between Ohio State and Notre Dame was just much better. I preferred that any day. But still, Penn State. I can't think of James Franklin. I know, I don't think Penn State fans, you're going to hate me for this, but I'm going to come out and say your guy can't really deliver when it comes down to the big games and the big moments. You notice there, he kind of, talk about Notre Dame, talk about Ohio State, talk about Michigan. He can never beat those big teams when it really comes down to it. I mean, sure, they did beat Boise State, but that's Boise State, right? They only had Ashton Genty. They're not doing much there. They did beat SMU, but then again, it's SMU, These are easier teams to play. Once you get to the real big competition like Notre Dame, Ohio State, teams like that in the top 4, top 5, top 10, you're not going to be able, I don't see James Franklin pulling it off here. And that's why I see on November 1st, it's at the Horseshoe. Give me the Buckeyes for that. Away at Purdue, this is in Indiana at Purdue, the Boilermakers. They don't really have the most stellar team of all time. I see the Buckeyes getting this one easily. And then we go back to Ohio Stadium for a game against UCLA. And they've got a good team. They've got a good atmosphere over in California on the Rose Bowl, that is. Oh, wait. Yeah, they do play at the Rose Bowl. But then again, don't forget, this is at Ohio State. They don't have the best team overall. Ohio State just does seem a little bit better, but I don't know their team for sure. Maybe it could be a little iffy. But I did have the rankings here, top 25. I don't believe UCLA. UCLA. Never do found. I think they're more of a basketball school. Give me the Buckeyes on this one. Next week against Rutgers. Bro, we own these. I know you're like, Jack, dude, this guy's going to pick them to go 12-0 again. No. Okay? Because I know we don't play Penn State. That's really we had to play Texas. That is going to be that is like the hardest game of the season. Okay? That is really the big question, the big picture. Can we beat Texas week number 1? Week number 1, we're starting things off. We haven't had the game experiences. I know we're going all the way back to the beginning of the schedule, but the thing is, we play Texas, we play at Penn State. I just do, Texas is the biggest one for me though, personally, because I think the Buckeyes can beat Texas. They do have the capability to beat them. Arch Manning, he's a good, I'm sure he's a good kid. We haven't seen much out of him yet. But, he did step in that one game and absolutely cream whoever it was. But trust me, I think the Buckeyes can pull it off. I think, Julian's saying it's going to be a rough week, but don't get me wrong. When you have someone like Jeremiah Smith, and you do have still some of those juniors left over from last year, they have the experience there. I think the Buckeyes might just maybe be able to get it done with Texas. But now here's the thing. We go over to Ann Arbor. We have lost the last 4 games against Michigan. It has been rough as a Buckeyes fan, okay? The one thing, we have a national championship, but we can't beat Michigan. That is the one thing we want. That is the one thing Buckeyes fans want more than anything, is to beat the state up north. That's what we want. That's what we want. We want to beat Michigan. That's all it is. We want to beat Michigan. And the problem with that is we've never been able to beat Michigan for the past 4 years. And even when it's at the shoe and we're the number 2 ranked team in the nation, we still can't beat them when they're not even a ranked team. And that's our problem, is that we still don't seem to get a hold when it comes to Michigan. And I know Buckeyes fans are going to hate me, but I don't think we're going to be able to do it. Because we had a better team last year than we do this year. It's not, I know it's crazy. You're like, bro, you picked them to beat Texas. You know, like you might be saying that, Jackson, you picked Ohio State to beat Texas. Why lose to Michigan? There's something about it. There's something about us playing the state up north that just makes us play worse for whatever reason possible, and we don't end up pulling it off. For whatever reason, I'm going to have to sadly say that we lose to Michigan in the last game of the regular season. It's going to suck, but trust me, we're going to get a pretty good spot in the college football playoff, and most likely we will probably get a chance to play in the Big Ten championship. So we're going to, for now... Okay, so switching things over. We broke down the schedule. So now we're going to get into top 25 right now. Of course, Ohio State is ranked number 1. They just beat Notre Dame there, so it's going to be a good, it's going to be good to be number 1, most likely coming out of the season. I feel pretty good about that. But I'm just going to give you guys a basic rundown of who I think is going to make the top 12 in week number by the end of the season. Now, talking about the Buckeyes, most likely, though, they might make the Big Ten championship. I see the Buckeyes actually playing Oregon in the Big Ten championship, and I see them battling it out, but it's going to suck, but I think Oregon might just get the upper hand in that, too, because I know I've picked a lot of wins, but I just don't know if the Buckeyes can pull it off against a team like Oregon. I mean, they did lose some of their players. Now, Dylan Gabriel's come to the Browns. It's going to be good to watch him play for Cleveland, but I don't know. It might. I don't know. I could be wrong. I might be able to see the Buckeyes beating the Oregon Ducks. But for now, I'm gonna have them lose in the Big Ten championship. That is if they play Oregon in the Big Ten championship. I see Oregon making the Big Ten championship as well. But let's break down for the number 1 seed. I think Texas is probably going to get number 1, most likely. So they're going to get that first round. Well, that's the thing. They have to be a conference winner. So I think Texas is going to actually be able to win out in the SEC and win in the SEC to give them the number 1 seed. And then in the Big Ten, I think Oregon's winning the Big Ten. I see Oregon getting the 2 slot there. That just seems like where it's going to go. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Who are the other 2 big conferences? Okay, BYU. Actually, I'm going to change that. I don't know why, but give me BYU winning the Big 12. I'm going to call it right now. BYU is going to take the Big 12 this year. That's my prediction. They're going to get the 3 seed. It's stupid. I know. And then, I'm trying to think. What's the last conference? I'm thinking about it. And then the ACC. I think I'm gonna have to go with the Clemson Tigers. It just really, if you look at it, there's not really any other good ACC teams besides a team like Syracuse. There's just not many ACC teams up there competing for, doing that good. So I see Clemson taking that. I'm going to say, actually, no, Clemson will have 3. BYU will take 4. I think they're going to be the next best team to take that. And then the 5 spot will most likely, going back to the top here, 5 spot, the Buckeyes. I see the Buckeyes taking the 5 spot. So they're going to have to play the 12-seeded team of, I think they're going to have to play a first-round game against. I really hope they change the rule personally because, yeah, that's kind of hard. I guess for now I'll just say like a team like Boise. Sure, Boise State, they win their conference, they'll get the 12 seeds. Buckeyes have to play Boise State. It's a matchup no one wants. No one wants that matchup. They would rather have a matchup like Ohio State versus Alabama, but whatever. This is stupid. I hate the way this is made. Going back to the 9-8 matchup, where we have Penn State taking on Georgia. That would be a great game to watch, but I do think Georgia would probably win that in the 9-8 scenario there. And then we'll go to 6-11 game. 6-11 is going to be Notre Dame and the Tennessee Volunteers. Notre Dame's going to be back at 11. I see Tennessee taking the 6th spot. I think Tennessee's going to do pretty good. They did last year. I don't know. I just see some stuff there. I think Tennessee's going to have a good season this year. 7-10. 7-10 is going to be Alabama taking on Miami University. I know these are kind of like random matchups, but looking at the top 25 right now, I don't see any of these other teams in the top 25 really having a good shot at. All right, 7-10. Alabama, Miami U. Alabama with the 7, Miami U at the 10. Those are my rankings. I hope you guys, maybe you guys probably don't agree with me at all because you guys probably think I'm like crazy or something. But no, there's not really many other good teams in the top 25 according to CBS Sports right now. So, maybe I'll do like a midway or, I will definitely come back to these predictions at the end of the regular season and then jump into an entire new prediction before the college football playoff 12 team comes out. And so that's what I'll do. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. Subscribe for the Buckeyes to have a great season this year. And hopefully we can beat Michigan. I don't care. We can lose to Texas. Just please beat Michigan. That's all I ask for. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you guys.